And I just found out they're like the same folks who were here last year, because our beautiful sound man was like, oh yeah, you spoke last year. And I was like, how do you remember that? Don't you do these conferences all the time? Thank you. So I'm babbling now, mostly because I'm going to be straight up honest. My heart rate is up. I am definitely going through some imposter syndrome. So we just had some incredible speakers, these women who have done so much and are such inspiration to us, and I thank you for that, because we all need that. I don't have a success story for you. I was diagnosed 3.5 years ago with Wyckham's disease. And since then, I have faced all kinds of problems in all kinds of systems. I almost died from a pulmonary embolism. I have been dealing with all 3 kinds of SIBO for the last year and haven't been able to defecate properly. But I'm still going to do my speech. We'll get through it, and because I don't have any answers except for, my own experience, and that's what we all have, and that's what we're all kind of experts in. So, green button, here we go. I have nothing to disclose. I make no money. Nobody gives me anything. My probably most favorite TV show in the world is The West Wing. Those of you who are younger may not remember this, but we used to not be able to stream TV shows on our phones, so for Christmas every year, my family would give me the box set of DVDs of The West Wing. I've seen each episode at least a dozen times. More so the first 4 seasons, the Sorkin years, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. It was an incredible show, and whether you've seen it or not doesn't matter. But these people, I know them really well, and they have taught me a lot of life lessons. So I wanted to talk to all of you about what The West Wing has taught me about living with a chronic illness, most directly with Wyckham's disease. Pardon the swear words here. As soon as we start having health problems, we start entering the world of crappy healthcare and crappy health insurance. And we hit barrier after barrier. We all know that experience of a doctor writing us off because we are fat, female-presenting people. And we all know that nightmare of the insurance saying, no, we're not covering that. That's not a real thing. So we have a schmuck-ass system that we have to figure out how to work around. And the folks on the West Wing did this every day. They would make fun of the same system that they worked in, the U.S. government, which we all know was another. But they found ways to work it. And that is so important. If you don't know, this is Martin Sheen. He played the president, President Bartlett. He also had a chronic illness. And for a lot of us, it was the first person we'd really met with a chronic illness. He had recurring remittent multiple sclerosis. Unlike President Bartlett, who hid his disease, I tell everybody. So I do things a little differently, because he got in big trouble for it and got censured by Congress and all that. I mention it to everybody because nobody's ever heard of Wyckham's disease. And I want people to know, of course, so I just talk about it. I don't necessarily talk about it as a sob story, but I introduce myself in that way. I'm a college professor, and I start all of my semesters with my pronouns. I'm a non-binary queer person. I am fat. I am chronically disabled. I mostly walk with a cane. And these are all things that, yes, can be adverse, but have brought me a lot of resilience. We've heard that word resilience a lot this weekend because we all understand what that is. My best lessons in resilience were when I went to clown school. And no, seriously, I did. I went to clown school. And my clown teacher often talked about how clowns were resilient. And the word that really stuck with me was bouncy and buoyant. When a clown falls, we don't worry about whether they're okay. They bounce up and make us laugh. So that's where I started to sort of get my understanding of what this resilience in adversity is all about. So I think we probably all understand this as well. There are some days where everybody's in your way or is making things difficult for you, or they're just being dumb, and you hate them. You're in pain. You're tired. Your arms hurt. Your legs hurt. You're dehydrated, even though you feel like you've had a gallon of water already. Like right now, my mouth is so dry, and I have to pee because of all the water I drank. But I don't hate any of you. I'm really happy that you're hurt, but we have these moments. So we know that we have to have support systems, and they might be our family, our loved ones, our friends. Certainly, if you haven't found this fat disorders group as a support system, you have now. You are part of the family now, and you're stuck with us. Because it's important, because we need these other people. We have to take our victories. They may not come as often as they come for the folks in the West Wing, and we may think that he is an arrogant ass, which he kind of is, but you know what? He knew how to say, I succeeded in this. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, getting, I don't even remember what this is from, something important. But feeling that empowerment, so important. We've heard so much about advocacy today. Thank you. I mean, Ashley and Sean, nice. And what I loved about what you said was that empowerment doesn't just have to be like getting up on this stage and talking to other people. It doesn't have to be starting a blog or an Instagram. Advocacy can be about just saying the word lipedema, just saying the word fat, just saying the word rare disease. That's 2 words, sorry. That is putting the word out. I also want us to take a second. I know we've looked around this room. We are a fairly privileged group of people. We are predominantly white, middle-aged, not all of you, women, or those of us who were assigned female at birth. I want to think about all those people who couldn't afford to come here today. They need our help. We are now missionaries to bring the word out. Think about the people that can't afford to get that hormone testing, or even get to an endocrinologist, or even join a gym. How can we help them? Let's think about how we spread this like crazy evangelists to help the people that aren't getting the help. I think it's amazing that we have, this is my third year here, and the attendance has rose and rose, and it's phenomenal. And like, again, I don't know if I even brought enough sticky notes because I just thought it would be like 50 of us. What's next? Yeah. Part of that resilience is knowing how to go back to work, whether that means your job. Some people aren't able to keep their job. But we still have to find some purpose and meaning, because there are some days where I will sit and watch West Wing not reruns, but I will watch the show because I don't feel like I have any purpose. And it's frustrating and it's depressing. So we need to find those things. And it doesn't have to be about our illness. It can be. For lots of people here, it is. But maybe your purpose is raising your kids, or maybe your purpose is picking up litter. Like, there's no hierarchy of these life purposes. There are some days, if you're in any like Facebook group or that sort of thing, where you feel like the entire internet has gone crazy. I don't know how many of you take part in some of these like Durkam's Facebook groups. Between the spammers who are like selling crazy herbs in there to just people who are sure of what works and what doesn't, it can be really hard to protect yourself. So you need to be able to set those boundaries and take care of yourself. It is okay to go take a nap during a conference, as I did yesterday. I didn't even watch the live stream. Felt guilty about it, slept anyway, right? I'm gonna watch it when it comes up in the next couple days. If I missed your thing yesterday, I apologize, I'm gonna watch it. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to be standing up here today if I didn't take care of some of the pain and the fatigue. So we get that. I say I felt guilty, I got over it real fast, you know? And then there's these days where you feel like you have tried everything, and you are still sick, and you are still fat, and you are still trying to find your purpose, or you're still trying to do that thing. And the nice thing about being in this loose connective tissue disorder world is most of us are quite flexible, really. So we know how to adapt and change and find the ways that work for us. We have to be able to be flexible and adaptable when we know we can't walk the full way to the bathroom or the bus stop. We also have to find some joy. That's the biggest thing. When you have a success, how big or small, we have to find the joy. We have to give gratitude for it. We have to reward ourselves with pie or whatever that thing is for you. Because President Bartlett's getting them pie when they do a great State of the Union speech. It was really good. And they took their victories. Now, if you're familiar with the show or then the podcast that came out in the past 10 years, there is a phrase that President Bartlett uses all the time, which is, "What's next?" And I love this phrase. It is how I stay resilient. It is how I am adaptable and flexible. For President Bartlett, it usually meant, it means I'm ready to move on and move on to other things. He would often use it to get out of conversations he didn't want to be in, or if people were getting too bogged down in a meeting and to move things forward. So it can be great just to be like, okay, let's keep moving. But throughout my issues with health, it has come to mean a lot of different things. When I first started getting sick, I was tired, things hurt. What next for me meant, well, what other tests can we run? It's not Lyme, it's not my thyroid, it's not, my ANA is negative, everything's coming back negative. We don't understand what's wrong with me. What else can we try? That's what my what's next was. And that wasn't necessarily successful, but it gave me momentum. In these last few years, when many of the health issues have come across, sometimes it's just what next to God or whatever higher being. What else are you going to do to me? What else can happen to this body before it just stops? And that's not the best way to think about what's next. But now, especially after this conference, we have this question of what can I try next? We've had so many things presented to us today. It is an overwhelming buffet of choices and options and theories and tests. And it's great. It's so cool. But Cheyenne talked right at the beginning about being overwhelmed. And I can remember leaving here my first year with my notebook full of notes, and I was just like, I am going to do this and this and this as soon as I get home. And I did. And you know what? I didn't learn anything because I was, shoving all these different diets and supplements in my body, and I didn't know if anything was working or not because I just wanted to try it all. In the last 3.5 years, this is not an exclusive list of things I have tried or been prescribed to help my pain, to help my fatigue, and all of the other things. Many of these may look familiar to you. I love the Brazil nuts. Like, that's the easiest one. I don't know if it helps or not, but I can eat a Brazil nut a day. Like, that's an easy commitment. I can't say that anything has necessarily really worked. Except for maybe the THC, to be honest. But now I have a ton of other things that I want to try. And I made this list that's about to come up before this weekend. So I look at it now and I'm like, oh, I have to change this because there's so many other things I need to be trying. But again, I want to make sure that I'm not just leaving here and trying a whole bunch of things at the same time and not really understanding what's happening. It's really hard to have patience through all this. But these are some of the things that I am in the process of looking at with my doctors, with my therapists. We all understand that we have to become basically our own clinician, because there's probably not a doctor that we can see regularly that's going to keep track of all of the things and all of the people. It's so hard. In the last 3.5 years, I've been to 4 different rheumatologists, 2 different endocrinologists. I'm on my 5th primary care, PCP. That's all. I've had occupational therapists for the lymphatic drainage. I have a therapist, a regular therapy therapist. I have a psychiatrist. I have a meditation teacher. But they don't talk to each other. I am the sun of the universe. And so I have to keep track of it all, and it's hard. And sometimes you throw a pitch and it sucks and you break a lamp. Okay, You practice, you try again, and you'll get it. So I want us all to think about what's next for us. Here comes the sticky note part. We now have momentum. We are inspired. We are ready. We have all these new tools in our toolbox. Let's ride this momentum, but not get overwhelmed. So I want to think about what your next is. I want you to pick one thing. It can be from what you've learned this weekend. It can be the thing you've been dying to try and you heard somebody else talk about it really well. It can be something really small. It can be, I am going to write down what I'm grateful for every day for a week, for a month. Doesn't have to be a really big thing. Think about what your next is. On your sticky note, if you don't have a pen, see if you can borrow one from somebody. Just want you to write 3 things. What's that next? And think about it, I'm sure most of us has been through what the SMART goal is. Make it specific. Make it measurable. And think about how long you are challenging yourself to do it. Sometimes it might be, like if you want to try the keto diet, you need to do it for at least a month or for 3 months to really see if it's doing something. So think about what that time period might be. And again, be reasonable with yourself. Don't be like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by Labor Day. Maybe that's not reasonable for you. Maybe it's Memorial Day and that's really rough. So just think about that time, what you think you can accomplish. And then I want you to just write your email down. Now, before you leave here today, I want you to give that sticky note to somebody. They may not necessarily give their sticky note back to you. You can if you want to just be buddies with somebody. If somebody gives you their sticky note, put that time in your calendar with a reminder so you can help them reach that goal, because that's what we need. We need our support system here, so we're going to help each other. I'm forcing you to commit to each other right now, and I'll do it too. So find somebody, trade stickies, give them your sticky, say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I need a buddy to help me be accountable for this one thing. Put it in your calendar. Ask them how they like to be praised, how they like to be reminded. Maybe they need a daily text message that says, don't forget to do your gratitude. Maybe you check in once a month to see how you're doing, to commiserate. You can figure that out. There's no rules to this. We make our own rules. We don't have to listen to anybody. You don't even have to listen to me. You can do whatever you want. See if you can make this commitment for yourselves of just that one thing. Because we all have something to do. Even if we are success stories like we've heard today, they're not done. They still have things they want to do. So there's nothing wrong with having a goal. Right on time. I'm amazing. This is my contact information. I am happy to be anybody's buddy. I'll be everybody's buddy if you just want to give me your sticky note. That's fine. I want to thank everybody for being here and being just the beautiful people that you are, and you always are at this conference, and I want to thank everybody in the conference. Again, my name is Wyckham Avery. I live in Maryland, outside of DC. If you're in the area, shout out to me. We'll have a fat disorder conference of our own, just the two of us, or whatever. It's cool. So thanks. That's all I got to say. What's next? Let's do it.